rain hammered against the security booth's reinforced glass like angry fists. Marcus Thompson pulled his collar higher against the chill seeping through the doorframe and watched the veteran guard, Williams, swipe through the screens on his tablet. Right, so first things, Williams squinted at the screen, tapping it. This is the control perimeter fence, 15,000 volts. 15,000? Marcus asked. Yeah, enough to drop a cyber psycho, let alone... Well, you get the idea. Street trash looking for easy pickings. Interfaces, where's the... Right, there. Don't let anyone in. He gestured towards the warehouse complex. Squat concrete blocks. 2 stories max. Built for storage, not style. Marcus smiled, adjusting his uniform. The job posting had been simple. Security guard, night shift. Enough pay to get by. Benefits? None. All he had to do was keep his gob shut, learn to love the taste of shit, and get paid. Marcus's eyes tracked toward the gun turrets mounted above the warehouse shutters, twin-barreled monsters with targeting sensors that glowed red in the darkness. They swept back and forth in slow, mechanical arcs like they were hunting something. Those beauties fire rubber bullets, Williams explained, following his gaze. Hurts like hell, but won't leave you with a murder rap. Well, most of the time. He chuckled at his joke. Controls right here on your pad. He handed Marcus a tablet. Just point, click, and watch the light show. As Marcus tried to digest the information, Williams walked to the wall locker and punched in the code. The locker opened. His stomach dropped when he saw what was inside. Handgun, shotgun, taser. Old kit this, Williams said, gesturing at the weapons. No mag guns, no smart targeting, none of that. We don't have clearance for the proper gear, but I requested some multi-vision scopes. Doubt they'll approve it though. He pulled out the pistol like it was routine. Last resort, Williams said, hefting the pistol. Company policy says aim for the leg unless your life's in danger. Right. Corporate land, innit? You've got immunity. You did complete the gun course, yeah? Marcus nodded. Good lad. Fuzz won't even show unless we call them, and we don't call them. The weight of that statement settled uncomfortably in Marcus's stomach. What exactly are we guarding in there? Williams shrugged. Above my pay grade, and above yours too. Company materials, equipment, whatever. Point is, our job is keeping people out, not knowing what's in. He grabbed his jacket. Look, kid, 99% of the time, this gig is dead boring. Watch a few skin vids, bash one out, have a kip. The system's got AI monitoring the feeds. It alerts you automatically if there's movement. Just don't ignore the pings. Marcus glanced at the screens showing different angles of the facility. Empty loading docks, deserted walkways. There was a distinctive smell in the air wafting from somewhere beyond the shutters. Something organic and unpleasant that the rain couldn't quite wash away. It usually smells like that? Marcus asked. Biocorp, right? They deal with organic materials, waste processing, recycling, that kind of shit. You'll get used to it. Williams paused at the door. Oh, and Marcus, sleep with one eye open. London's full of desperate people, and desperate people do stupid things. The door slammed shut, leaving Marcus alone with the hum of screens and the steady drumbeat of rain on metal. He almost called Williams back, asked about the weather, the football, anything to keep another human voice in the room a bit longer. 3 hours into his shift and he cycled through every piece of entertainment on his tablet twice. The news feed offered their usual cocktail of corporate propaganda and sensationalized crime stories. Neuralink dating app matches based on brain chemistry. First couple dies mid-orgasm from synchronized stroke. Child converts parents into smart home system. They always said I should listen to them more, reports 12-year-old. Holographic influencer Princess Pixel promises to end homelessness by deleting poor people from city database. He snorted at the headlines. Deleting poor people from the database. Of course that's how they'd solve homelessness. Last week he was sitting outside the Dole office, nursing a can of lager, when some corpo's car glided past. Sleek Japanese thing, chrome and angles, windows tainted black. Made no sound at all. Wrong fucking postcode for that kind of ride. Fuck knows what they were doing. Motion detected Sector 3, warned his tablet. He glanced at the monitors, scanning the grainy feeds until he spotted movement near the eastern fence. A single figure in a hooded jacket was testing the chain link, looking for weak spots. Seriously? He grumbled, watching the intruder climb. He tapped the electric fence control on his tablet. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The hooded figure convulsed, screamed, and dropped to the ground in a shower of sparks. After a moment of twitching, They scrambled to their feet and fled into the night, limping heavily. His fingers found the pistol. 3 hours ago, he was contemplating rubbing one out. Now he's frying people through a fence. They want in, he wants them out. Should have used more voltage. Maybe they'd stayed down. He reset the system and made a note in the security log. 03:23 hours. Single intruder, eastern perimeter. Deterred via fence activation. No further contact. The motion sensors remained quiet for another hour, and he'd started to doze when he found himself somewhere else entirely. Standing on a beach under brilliant sunshine, warm sand between his toes. Real sand. Not the toxic grey sludge that passed for beaches these days. He could hear waves, proper ones, like from before everything went to shit. In his dream, the sky was blue. Actually blue. Not like London's poisoned atmosphere. He remembered beaches like this from childhood. Full of people, other kids, his mum. Now they were full of scavengers hoping to find something worth selling. The alarm chimed, jolting him back to reality. Motion detected Sector 3. 2 figures approached the fence, one carrying old carpet scraps. They threw the rags over the razor wire and began climbing with practiced efficiency. Persistent little shit, he mumbled, reaching for the fence control on his tablet. The electric shock caught the first climber halfway up. They fell backward, crying out in pain, while their companion fled without hesitation. Marcus stepped outside the booth for the first time that night, drawing his weapon and scanning the perimeter. The air was thick with more than just rain. That smell was stronger out here, almost overwhelming, like food had gone bad mixed with some sort of peroxide. It seemed to be coming from the direction of the main warehouse. He holstered his weapon. First night, and already some poor bastard trying to climb his fence. At least they kept coming back, gave him something to do. Back inside, he was reviewing the night's incident reports when movement on the monitors caught his attention again. The 2 figures had returned, moving more urgently this time. They threw fresh padding over the wire and began climbing immediately with no hesitation. Fuck this! Marcus's hands shook as he stabbed at the turret controls. The rubber bullets caught them at the top of the fence, almost over. They fell without ceremony, one making high-pitched yelping that made Marcus wince. One dragged the other away, both moving like broken dolls. He walked out and retrieved the carpet scraps they'd left behind. Old rags, stained and threadbare. He decided to do a proper perimeter check, something Williams probably should have mentioned in the briefing. He grabbed a torch from the booth and began walking the fence line, checking for other weak spots or signs of previous break-in attempts. The rain had eased to a drizzle, and his thoughts started to drift in the relative quiet. This wasn't how he'd imagined his life turning out. Growing up in East London, his mum had always said if you worked hard and kept your head down, you'd get by. And he had worked. Christ, how he'd worked. From 15, he had weekend jobs, stacking shelves, washing dishes, manual labour on construction sites, proper graft, the kind that left your back aching and your hands raw. He remembered the day they brought the fabrication drones to the construction site. Tommy, 20 years laying brick, just stood there watching the machine do his week's work in 2 hours. Right then, Tommy said, as if he was leaving for the pub instead of losing his livelihood, handed over his hard hat and walked off into the rain. Tommy killed himself later that night. As he rounded the corner near the main warehouse, that organic smell hit him again, stronger than before. He paused, shined his torch towards the loading docks. Whatever Krauser Biocorp was storing in there, it wasn't getting any fresher. Marcus was halfway back to the booth when he heard the engine roaring in the distance, growing louder. The crash sounded like every piece of scrap metal in London having a nervous breakdown at once. He dove sideways as a battered old Vauxhall smashed through the fence in a shower of sparks and twisted metal. The car skidded across the wet concrete, steam rising from its crumpled bonnet. Both doors flew open and the intruders emerged, the ones he'd been fighting all night. Only now he could see them more clearly in the facility's harsh security lighting. They had old bin lids for shields, advancing towards the warehouse shutters while the automatic turrets tracked them. Rubber bullets sparked off their bin lid armour as they zigzagged across the open ground. Taking the piss, Marcus breathed, fumbling for his weapon and rushing in their direction. The one with the crowbar was already prying at the shutter mechanism. The other kept watch, some kind of pipe or club in their hands. "Stop! Corporate security! You're trespassing on private property!" They ignored him, working frantically with them pressed against the building and the shutters. Marcus aimed carefully, as Williams had said, leg shot. non-lethal. The crack of the gunshot echoed off the warehouse walls. The figure with the crowbar went down, screaming and clutching their thigh. Dark and thick blood leaked between their fingers, mixing with the rainwater. The shutter began to roll up with a grinding mechanical sound. The second intruder spun, drawing a pistol from their jacket. In the harsh lighting, Marcus caught a glimpse of wide eyes and hunger so fierce it was almost feral. The gun bucked in his grip and he fired again, not aiming, pulling the trigger. Fuck training. Fuck leg shots. This was pure panic, and his finger wouldn't stop squeezing. Bang, bang, bang. The cracks echoed off the walls, and suddenly there was blood everywhere. Marcus approached cautiously, weapon still drawn, ears ringing from the gunshots. The wounded intruder was still alive, making soft weeping sounds like an injured animal, crawling toward their fallen companion with broken, frantic movements. He kicked the pistol away from the dead intruder's hand before kneeling to check on the wounded one. He pulled back the first hood and found himself staring at a boy, maybe 15, 16 at most. His face streaked with grime and chemical burns. His eyes were huge and terrified. The second intruder, the one Marcus had killed, was a woman in her 30s. When he rolled her over, he saw the resemblance. Sister, maybe, or mother. Why? The boy whispered, still reaching for the woman. We just needed... The kid was bleeding out. Marcus faced the open shutter, finally able to see what was inside. Rubbish. Mountains of it, stretching back into the warehouse depths. Fucking hell. Premium package torn open, luxury brands mixed in with rotting food scraps, electronics with corporate logos dumped in piles, leaking toxic fluids, office refuse by the ton, pharmaceutical containers with warning labels. They weren't storing anything, they were binning it. All the executives leftover shit, trucked out here to rot where no one would complain about the smell. And scattered amongst the refuse, he could see things that squeezed his chest. Unopened packages of synthetic protein, expired but probably still edible, medical supplies past their corporate mandated replacement dates, consumer electronics with minor defects that made them unsuitable for retail. Marcus holstered his weapon and knelt beside the dying boy. Don't let them throw her away. She deserves... His voice faded, blood spreading beneath him. The kid's breathing grew shallow, then stopped. The rain continued. Just a fucking kid. Marcus stood there for a moment and quietly retrieved the old carpet scraps they used to climb the fence. He covered them with the fabric. The woman's face disappeared beneath the rags, then the boy's. The sun was rising over London's skyline, painting the clouds in shades of orange and red. He stared at the bodies. Of course, they wouldn't stop coming back. Hungry people don't learn. They just get hungrier. In another life, the woman might have caught his eye on the tube, smiled back even. The boy was just like Marcus at 15, all elbows and stupid hope, thinking if he just tried hard enough, he could fix everything. Now they were just meat cooling in the rain, all for some corporate fuck's leftover lunch. Marcus slumped to the ground, dropping the gun beside him. He patted his pockets for a cigarette, hands still shaking as he lit it, a habit he'd thought he'd kicked years ago. The cigarette trembled between his fingers. Message from AI supervisor. Log reviewed, good work. 2 fatalities, minimal property damage, proper escalation. Another message followed immediately. Shift ends soon. See you tomorrow. He stared at his hands, still steady despite everything. The same hands that had stacked shelves as a teenager, that had worked construction until the machines took over. Now they'd taken 2 lives. Over what? Bin juice. The tablet buzzed again. Remember to complete your incident report before leaving. Have a good day.